Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at Annadelvey's natal chart. So super excited to be getting into her natal chart. I also have a few psychic insights that I do have that did come through about Anna. So anything that does come through in this video is alleged for entertainment and educational purposes only. So very excited to be getting into this. I did watch Inventing Anna and I was definitely very intrigued by her as a person. I then went off to look at some interviews about her to get a little bit more insight as to how she is as an individual. How does she act is really what I was interested in. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything of that sort, so I can't really go around diagnosing people, but I would say that I'm pretty good at reading people. So when I was watching Anna, one thing that I did notice with her is that there is this energy of detachedness. Now, here's the thing, what I was not sure about, and I still can't really put my finger on, is that I'm not sure if she was always like that. Okay, only people who know her are going to be able to vouch for that, or if it is the prison experience that made her very detached, okay, emotionally and energetically. Another thing that I did notice with her is that she still laughs, okay, so she still has emotions. She shows emotions. She cried in the whole court, when they made the decision, the verdict, right? So she does have emotion. So she's not fully sociopathic, okay? I know a lot of people were saying you're a sociopath and she's happy that people are calling her that or whatever it is. Honestly, my analysis of her as a person is that she's someone who is highly intelligent and she just thinks that everybody else is stupid. Like there's no other way to really describe her other than that. I think she just thinks that she's highly intelligent, and she is. And honestly, she's proven that to be true because look at all the people that she tricked and manipulated. Another thing that I picked up on before we get into the natal chart is that basically in her mind she didn't think she was doing anything wrong. Okay, so the way that she basically came to her conclusions or like rationalized it for herself was like, it's not my fault that these people are falling for these things, right? Or there's certain situations where it was like maybe she forgot the credit card, or maybe she just somehow the person got distracted and like they didn't take the money, whatever it is, right? And all these sorts of circumstances, I think the way she basically rationalized it was that she thought that, that's that person's problem. That's not my problem. That's that person's problem. It's your responsibility to be, making sure that you do have my credit card in a particular situation, whatever. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that happen every time. But yeah, so it's really interesting to see. And I know, in court or wherever she was, they were saying she had no remorse. But I think that that's how she basically rationalized it. And she was so close to achieving her goal to basically get her business going. And even in an interview, some person said, well, you didn't actually have a business, you had a house of cards. And she pointed out something really true. She's like, most businesses are like that before you actually get them off the ground. And a lot to do with business, especially if you're running your own business or entrepreneurship or all these sorts of things, are very much rooted in a lot of deception early on. Obviously, that's not justifying anyone's actions to be stealing or tricking from people in any way, shape, or form. But there still is a little bit of that, okay? People put on a face, people act a certain way, they know how to present themselves, all these sorts of things that is still being deceptive. So, it's interesting to see when I really try to understand where she was coming from as a person. I would say that that's really what her train of thought probably was. I mean, again, I can't speak for anybody, but just observing her and analyzing her behavior, this is really what I would basically say. And there were other times where she said that like she's very aware of how people perceive her and how to act in certain situations and all these sorts of things, which still I wouldn't say that she's fully cold-hearted, sociopathic, and like fully detached from people. Now, it's interesting. Let's talk about the astrology. So we don't have her time of birth, unfortunately. We do have her date of birth. So she was born on January 23rd, 1991. Okay, so she was born in a small town right outside of Moscow, which is called Domodedovo. When I put through her information to look up her natal chart, I put it as Moscow, just because of the reason that this small town wasn't coming up, unfortunately, and we don't have her time. Now, we need the time to get the rising, and we also need the time to get the houses. My guess for rising, and this is what's really interesting, my guess for rising based on her actions and how she acts was an Aquarius rising. And then I went and looked up online to see if I could get any more information on her birth or time of birth or anything of that sort. And someone had posted and said that she was an Aquarius rising based off of some Instagram thing. Now, again, we can't base it off of that, but I thought it was interesting that I was picking up Aquarius rising and she basically, this person said that there was some sort of Instagram post or whatever it was that indicated that she was an Aquarius rising. So the reason why I gave her Aquarius rising was I really picked up on double of that Aquarian energy from her. Aquarian people, or people who have a lot of this Aquarian energy in their chart, do tend to be very detached, especially emotionally. They tend to be detached, and they tend to be very much big thinkers, okay? They're very futuristic in that sense where they have a vision, they're visionaries, and that's really what she was. And honestly, I'm going to tell you guys right now, eventually she's going to get to her goal, but I feel like it's going to be more so later on in life for her because of the fact that she has a lot of Capricorn placements. So it's interesting to see how she really has this vision. She, you know, was only in her early 20s. She went around deceiving all these people who were at like the top echelons of society, right? Like she went straight for the top. She somehow met them. She somehow got connected to them, all these sorts of things. And she basically played the part. Very, very Capricornian energy. Capricorn really is all about, again, the higher echelons of society, status, money, all these sorts of things. But the only thing with Capricorn is it tends to happen later for them in life because they really do, quote unquote, spend their lifetime climbing. Okay, so they really do spend their lifetime getting into, you know, these sorts of jobs, careers, all these sorts of things that are going to help them achieve that status that they're looking for. Now, that's her sun and that's her rising. Her moon, okay, her moon is Aries. Okay, we don't have her time. So if she's born after 12 p.m., she would have been a Taurus moon. And honestly, I think she's a Taurus moon more so than an Aries moon because I really feel that energy from her. I feel like she's more so Taurus moon because of the fact that, again, Taurus is all about the earth plane. Okay, Taurus is all about the luxurious things in life, the material things in life. And Taurus bounces off of Scorpio, which Scorpio is that sneaky behavior, right? That like, the way Scorpio sometimes thinks as a sign is like, I'm going to leave information out and it's not my problem that you perceive that way, okay? Or I'm going to word it in this way. These are more shadow aspects of these signs, right? I'm not saying all Scorpios or Tauran people are like this, right? But every sign has a light and a shadow aspect, and that tends to be the shadow of Scorpio. Taurus, Scorpio do bounce off of each other. They both want nice things. They both want luxurious things. Now, what's interesting is Taurus is going to put in the hard work. Okay, Taurus is going to put in the hard work to get those nice things, whereas Scorpio is going to kind of go about it how Anna did, right? She said it herself in an interview that I watched. She's like, why am I going to waste my time when I can go straight to the top? Like, that was her mentality, right? She's like, I'm not going to put in my time to do all these things when I can go straight to the source. Very much Scorpion or Scorpionic energy, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if her moon was actually Taurus moon in the earlier degrees and not an Aries moon. I don't really feel an Aries moon from her. I don't feel any fiery energy from her whatsoever. It's very calculative, okay, what she did. And that's very Scorpionic in that sense, okay? So hope you guys are following because Taurus and Scorpio are oppositions. They bounce off of each other, okay? And then there is the Tauran aspect of her, which is all about the nice things, the luxurious things, looking nice, dressing nice, top-notch things, right? Even when she went to court, she wanted to basically have her own fashion show, right? She wanted to look good in court, okay? So very, very much Tauran like qualities. The moon sign in your chart is going to be all about your inner world. It's going to be all about how you truly feel deep down inside. Okay, it's all about who you really, really are as a person deep down inside. So I would really, really give her a Tauran moon. Okay, I would definitely give her Taurus as her moon sign and not so much Aries. Aries is more so impulsive, and with Anna, I wouldn't say she was impulsive. She wasn't impulsive. So here's the next thing. So with her Aquarius sun, and if she has an Aquarius rising, so she would have had sun conjunct ascendant, then the question is it in the 12th house? Okay, or is it in the first house? So what's interesting is even if it is in the 12th house, later on as she moves through her progressions, is going to move into her first house, which is going to give her that Aries energy in that sense, where it's like very much go-getter, going after what she wants. It's very much entrepreneurial. It could be Aries in that sense, right? So she could have a lot of first house placements within her chart, but again, we don't know. Unfortunately, we don't have her time of birth. So that's what we have for her moon. Next, we have a Capricorn stellium, okay? And the Capricorn stellium is basically where it hit her the hardest, unfortunately. She has a Mercury, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and her north node in Capricorn. It's all Capricorn. So it makes sense, her behavior, right, in that sense of wanting to achieve, wanting to go for the top, you know, wanting to basically, again, get into those higher echelons of society. That's really what Capricorn is all about. Capricorn is all about putting in the work, putting in the hard work, putting in the time. Capricorn's willing to put in the time, so it's interesting that she was kind of like, let me go straight to the source. But I'm sure regardless of the situation, let's say she did maybe end up getting that $40 million lease, right, that she was going after. Well, in that situation, she probably would have worked hard, okay, to basically achieve her goal and achieve her vision. So it was kind of like the way she went about it. But again, psychically, when I tap into her, like the way that she sees it is kind of like these people have that money to spare. That's kind of how she saw it, okay? And again, I'm not justifying anyone's actions. I'm just someone who loves to understand why people are the way they are and what makes them tick and why they do certain situations and why they behave certain ways. And that's kind of just what I've psychically come to conclude, is that that's how she saw it. She saw these people as basically walking dollar signs is really what I'm seeing. And you know, I've seen certain posts and certain people say things like, a lot of those people, they're so wealthy that like they've made money since then, right? So that's kind of how her, you know, perception was. She kind of went for individuals who she knew had this disposable income, right? And I'm not sure what the logic was. I don't know if she thought like no one was ever going to notice, right? But it's interesting because honestly, with all these Capricorn placements, she probably is going to achieve her goal later on in life, okay? It's just that right now. So basically what happened, and I made a short little video about this as well, is I knew as soon as she basically got arrested, okay, which was in October 2017, and then she got convicted, which was April 2019, and then she was in jail basically until February 2021. It literally hit her on her Saturn return. So basically Saturn return, okay, we go through 3 different Saturn returns within our life. All of them have a different significance, but basically the first one that anyone goes through, okay, which is usually around age 27, 28, 29, it's in that window because Saturn is going to be in the transit for those 3 years, okay? It's going to be you reaping what you sow, okay, or have sown. So for her, you know, she basically did all these things that she thought she was going to get away with, and unfortunately she ended up getting caught, okay? She ended up getting caught. So it hit her right when her Saturn hit Capricorn, and her Saturn is in Capricorn, but yeah, right when it hit the Capricorn transit again, so it came back around. So it hit her exactly then, and that was when she ended up getting arrested. And the whole time she was in prison, basically around age 27 to 30, right? Because she basically came out as soon as Saturn left Capricorn, because Saturn was in Capricorn exactly from December 19th, 2017 to March 21st, 2020. So that entire time, okay, she basically went through that whole process of getting arrested, doing the trial, spending her time in jail, and then getting released in February 2021, but then again getting arrested, okay, unfortunately, because she overstayed her visa. So that part of her basically getting arrested again was because Pluto is in Capricorn also, okay, and we're having the Pluto return within the United States as well. So that started around February 22nd, 2022. So it hit her again, okay, because she has all these Capricorn placements. We don't know her house, so if we knew her house, we'd know exactly what area it's affecting her, okay, in her life. But let's say maybe she does have Aquarius in let's say she does have Aquarius in the first house. Capricorn could be maybe, I don't know, maybe in the second or maybe even in the 12th, okay? I'm just guessing here, but unfortunately, we don't have her time, okay? So we don't have her time. This is based off the fact, assuming that she has an Aquarius rising, okay? So again, I'm going to point that out. So let's say it is maybe in the second house. Again, second house is all to do with money and all these sorts of things. So I wouldn't be surprised if all these Capricorn placements that she has could be maybe in the second house. Because again, when it came back around, okay, first of all, Saturn, okay, so you're dealing with karmic issues and karmic dynamics and karmic balances, whatever way, shape, or form with the second house, okay? And then Pluto, okay, so Pluto is going to make everything explode, okay? That's really what Pluto is as a sign, as a planet rather, but it's ruled by Scorpio, which is again taking things underneath the surface and bringing them to the surface. Okay, so basically when Pluto came back, right, around into Capricorn, it was in Capricorn this whole time, right, because it stays in the sign basically for an entire generation. But I'm basically saying, like, when it hit that Pluto return for the United States, and then it affected her chart as well because of all of these Capricorn placements, and that's when she basically got taken again, okay, into I think it's called ICE, okay? I'm not sure if people call it ICE, but I don't know what it actually stands for. But she basically got, you know, taken in again, and they wanted to deport her. So honestly, in terms of deportation, I can see her being deported, but I can see her coming back to the United States again, because again, with all these Capricorn placements, like, also, this is another thing you have to look in people's charts, is like she has conjunctions between the United States chart and her own chart. So it's like almost karmic for her in that sense. And I can see her coming back. The next thing that I thought was interesting was she had Jupiter in Leo, or retrograde, okay? So that retrograde basically goes off and shows you that it's difficult for you to make abundance, okay? Or you're going to have challenges with creating abundance. And that's actually something that was shown to her, right, within her life and in Leo. So for her to bring through abundance, it would be anything that's Leo like. So absolutely every aspect of her personality, like it makes sense when you look at her chart, right? Because even her Mercury was in Capricorn, okay, so that's the way she communicates. And again, we have that whole, and even the way that she thinks, right? Because Mercury is intelligence. So again, we have this whole idea of her wanting to be in the higher echelons of society, right? Wanting to get that status. For her, it's the status, right? She wants to have a specific type of treatment in her life. She wants to have a specific type of luxury for when she goes, right? She doesn't go she goes for the top, okay? She goes for the top, right? So that would be Mercury in Capricorn, and then she even has Venus in Aquarius, so that would be her relationships. So probably would be unconventional relationships. I did find it interesting that she only did have one relationship throughout the whole video. Well, when I say video, throughout the whole TV show, where she only had the one relationship with the TED Talk guy. So either they didn't talk about other relationships that she had, romantic relationships, but what I thought was interesting was that she didn't get sexually involved, again, from what we've seen, so we don't know, right? So this is only things that we've seen, but she didn't basically get sexually involved with people to achieve her goal. She manipulated them with her mind, and that's not Mercury in Capricorn, right? She manipulated them with her mind to get what she wants, right? And other things, like talking about people's daughters and making them basically empathize with her, like very, very calculated and very much thought out, okay? So something important to keep in mind as well. And then all these other placements, Saturn and Capricorn, so again, that's karma around, again, working hard work, which we've seen. So this is what's so interesting with astrology, is because you're actually going to see, so when certain things happen to individuals, you'll actually be able to see it in their chart why that happened. So for her, like I mentioned, the transit was, it was her Saturn return, and it was hitting her exactly, and then it was afterwards, the second time that she basically got arrested was when the Pluto basically was coming back around. Because also another thing with these transits is that you start to feel the energy a little bit before, even before it actually hits the exact date, okay? It's never on the exact date. You're going to start to feel the energy starting to build up prior to it actually hitting the date, because the planet is basically approaching that particular sign. It's so fascinating, right? So as soon as all of these Capricorn placements clear up, which is actually November 24th or November 19th, 2024, okay? So when all of these Capricorn placements clear up, she's probably going to, you know, get out of these intense situations that she has found herself in, and then basically start at a level of zero, right? Zero in the sense that, like, level playing ground, no more of this like legality stuff that she has to deal with, okay? And also what's interesting is that in the tarot, was coming through to mention, the sign of Capricorn is actually ruled by the Devil card, right? So those are things, again, that keep you chained. So again, what's interesting to see is two things that have actually come through psychically. One thing is that for her, if she had not been caught this time when Saturn went into Capricorn, it would have happened by the time her second Saturn return happens, okay? So it's happening sooner and it's happening faster. I've mentioned this a lot because of the fact that, again, we're moving into higher vibrations, so karma has to get cleared. So karma basically is a balancing of energy, okay? So if you do something and it is, again, out of balance, because in the sense, like for her, right, she would have stolen money from people, and that's there, it needs to be balanced, right? So that money needs to be paid back, which again she was ordered to do, and which a lot of it she has paid back from her Netflix show, right? So karma has to get balanced, and what's happening is it's happening almost instantaneously now because of the fact that we're moving into higher and higher vibrations as a planet as a whole, okay? So back in the day, let's say this happened maybe 30 years ago, and she was in this type of situation, maybe it wouldn't have hit her until the second Saturn return for her, because of the fact that, again, maybe she would have gotten like a small like slap on the wrist the first time, maybe she would have been caught, right? And maybe, you know, she would have gotten away with it and she would have continued doing what she's doing, and then she would have gotten caught on her second Saturn return, okay? So I'm just kind of pointing that out just to notice basically how these transits are working, and it's also working with the higher vibrational energies of the planet as well. So if any of you are interested in even getting your own natal chart reading, I do have those available currently. They are open and they are available for sale. They are on my website. You can go underneath the shop, okay? That's where you guys can get a natal chart reading. So that's basically what's going on with her. North Node in Capricorn makes sense. That's the life purpose, right? So North Node in Capricorn, her life purpose is Capricorn things. So in a past life, past life would have been South Node for her. So past life, she would have been maybe a homemaker, maybe even an orphan. Maybe she could have been a stay-at-home parent in one way, shape, or form, right? Whether she was male or female, doesn't matter. She would have been at home. It would have been all about family. It would have been all about a huge focus on family. Now, what's interesting also that's coming through to mention is Capricorn bounces off of Cancer, okay? So they're also oppositions. So Cancer is the most abandoned sign. So it's interesting to see that she has this theme of abandonment happening within her life as well, with her own personal family. Prior to the situation, okay, there was probably feelings of abandonment. And then after the situation, especially, again, from what we've been shown, right, in the TV show, her father didn't want to come. He didn't want to have anything to do with the situation. So that is, again, very much Cancerian energy. And it makes sense because she got all the Capricorn placements and it bounces off of Cancer. So it's interesting to see how it kind of slips through, even though it's not a huge theme, but it's kind of like in the background, okay, as an energy. So with the North Node in Capricorn, basically she in this lifetime again is wanting to climb, okay? So in a past life she didn't get to do that. Again, maybe she had children or something of that sort. She had to be a stay-at-home parent, watch the kids. She, on a soul level, there was a desire to achieve higher, to achieve better, to get to a higher echelon in society. So it's very clear in her chart, and it's so fascinating. Again, we don't know the houses, right? We don't know the houses for her, for any of these placements, unfortunately, because that would give us even more insight as to what is actually taking place with her. So I'm going to wrap up this video there, a quick little video on basically Annadelvey's natal chart and what took place. Okay, so it's interesting to see when we look at how, you know, it's the same question all the time, fate versus free will, right? There is, you know, certain things that are destined to take place, but I do think that there is a window of opportunity to basically go with fate as well, okay? So to go with free will is what I wanted to say. So I think there's certain things that are destined to take place because the soul basically incarnates, right? So the soul incarnates with this desire line, and you basically get a blueprint, which is your natal charts. But then it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do with that energy? Because it can manifest in different ways. So I think there's certain things that are set in stone for certain individuals. But again, it's kind of like there's a window where you can actually operate with free will as well. So really interesting, really amazing, really interesting to see like the transits that were taking place and that affected her, and exactly like when these significant events that took place, how there was actually a transit that was affecting her personally. So I'm going to wrap up this video there. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. You guys can let me know in the comments below if there's anybody else you guys want me to do a video on as well. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.